Hi, welcome back to a new episode. Today, we are going to talk about one major difference that has turned my life and most people's lives upside down. It is the idea of the self soothing versus the self sabotage. A lot of people do not understand the difference, so I'm here not only to teach you the difference, but also to make you understand how you are able to get out of a self sabotaging mindset. So, if you are ready to learn more, let's jump right in. First of all, we need to understand that we live in a culture that promotes the idea of treating yourself without the actual emotion regulation. A lot of people have gone ahead and used food or shopping or entertainment or any other form as a way to treat themselves when they're not feeling well, instead of learning how to regulate their emotions, name them correctly, and knowing how to act upon them correctly as well. And then also, there's a very big issue with this because it's a temporarily relief instead of actual healing. And what tends to happen is it starts to have avoidance behaviors, shopping compulsively, eating disorders, very much associated with that. And then also you have the very big issue of the shame cycle, which is normally self sabotage, then you feel guilty, then more self sabotage to deal with the guilt. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that true self soothing makes you feel calm. And what tends to happen is with self sabotage is that normally, and I'm going to give you guys a very strong example. Something happens in your life where you're feeling upset. And then instead of you taking a moment for yourself, recognizing the emotion, thinking about how you are feeling, you use something to be able to push down that emotion. So, for example, we could use eating as an option. So something bad happens, you start to overeat or you eat specific stuff, but then once you're done eating, you're off on the opposite end. You're getting upset at the overeating, right? Let's assume that it's overeating. So then you're going to also self-sabotage by exercising too much. So now you're back on this side again. Because now you have overeaten too much. You're still upset over the issue that you had. So now it's a fucking cycle. And this can happen for anything in life. You could use shopping, you could use eating, you could use video games, you could use entertainment, you could use anything as a way to numb the pain. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Self-soothing is different from everything else that we may talk. You can give whatever name you like. I like to call it self-sabotage. And the reason why I call it self-sabotage is because you are sabotaging your ability of emotional regulation. When you have the ability of emotionally regulating, this is how it will happen versus a self-sabotage that I just gave the example. Let's assume that you are fired from your job. The normal reaction to anyone is getting upset, angry, frustrated, sad, whatever you're feeling. It's perfectly normal. Now, here's the big issue with society. We are told that we shouldn't show our emotions, that we shouldn't reveal what we think. Fair. Very fair to say that, at least in other people's opinions, not in mine. You have all the right to let go of whatever you are feeling and bring it out. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like being angry, be angry. The key here is feeling the emotion, letting it out in a very healthy way. So if that means that you need to let it out for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, feel it. Actually feel it. Let it all out. Once you reach the point where you have known for a fact that you have nothing else to give, you have given it all out, then analyze it. Okay? Analyze the emotion, not the issue, the emotion. I'm not asking you to think or overthink, oh, what did I do to get fired, yada, yada, yada. That's not what I'm asking you. I am asking you to recognize the emotion that you are feeling. Why are you feeling that way? What are you feeling? So that instead of you going ahead and grabbing your credit card and going shopping, or grabbing the next thing on your refrigerator, or watching a movie to just numb out your brain and not think about it, you are actually dealing with the emotions directly. And I know that it's easier said than done, because I gave, a relatively medium risk situation like losing a job. But what if is actually losing a loved one? Now, here's the kicker. We all know about the stages of grief, and we all know that not everyone goes through all of them. And we also know that idealistically, it should happen. You're going through most of them. In specific, you should end the cycle of grief at some point. Now, I know it's easier said than done, because it depends who you lose. It depends how you lost them. It depends of so many factors. But one of the big issues that I see, regardless of the situation, is that people do not go through the process of identifying their pain, identifying the emotion, and actually responding to it. One of the things that irks me the most is when I see someone upset or someone crying, and someone else comes and says, "Oh, stop crying. It's okay. Everything will be fine." No, do not say that to people, because that's not helping. The act of you saying to someone for them to stop crying does not help them. It just makes them go number. The act of you going numb with your emotions is one of the worst things that you can do. There has been studies that suppressed emotions can actually lead to depression. And the reality here is, you don't have to suppress any emotions. You can let them out in safe spaces. Okay, I just been fired. I'm not going to reveal how I feel right here. Then I'm going to wait until I get home. And then I'm going to release what I feel. I'm going to let myself cry. I'm going to let myself scream. I'm going to let myself be upset. Okay, a loved one just died, but I need to somehow still make a decision in the hospital, or I still need to go to the cops and file a complaint, or whatever the heck. Then you have the right to your feelings, be upset, do whatever you need to do. Once you are done, cry, scream, be upset, be angry. You have every single reason to feel the emotions that you are feeling. One of the biggest issues that I see is people not letting out their emotions. I must say, and I need to congratulate this person for this. One of my mentors, Mia Magic. Hello, if you're seeing the video, love you so much. She has done one thing very right, which is her rage rituals. Her rage rituals were so popular that she went on live television to talk about it, because her role was just simply as someone that created a safe space for anyone and everyone to let out their anger and let out their rage. And what tended to happen very often is when people actually let go of their rage, it came directly associated with repressed emotions such as crying. Any video that you see of hers leading a rage ritual, someone may end up screaming, someone may end up crying, someone may end up speaking what they were feeling. And that is the act of letting go of your emotions. She created a safe space to do so, and you can do the same at home. I'm not saying that you need to do her exact ritual. I'm not saying that you need to do the same, but letting go of the emotions that you are feeling and labeling them is the actual way of how to emotionally regulate and understand your emotions. By doing so, you let go of the self-sabotaging circles that you keep having over and over and over again. You don't have to go through any of that at all. You can indeed just focus on yourself and finally start to self-soothe, because you're able to identify it. And by identifying the emotion, you are able to actually go ahead and do what you want to do. So, pause before the impulse. Actually do true self-soothing, warm baths, gentle movement, calling a friend, journaling, letting it out. Addressing the root emotions, addressing that deepness, not just the symptoms of what happens after. And once you could also implement the 24-hour rule, which I do, which is basically, how do you feel after the day after each behavior or after each situation that happened? It's like, how do you feel? And there we go. You have all the tools in your hands. If you have any further questions or any further concerns, or if you're dealing with something a little deeper and you'd love some support or help, go ahead and leave a comment on the comment section below. I am completely at your disposal for you to ask any questions that you like. And if you're having any struggles, go ahead. If you want to do something a little bit more private or you're concerned about speaking anything specific, my DMs are open. You can go right on ahead and send me a message. I hope to see you here next week. I hope you have a lovely day. Stay safe out there. Have a good week. Bye-bye.